Today we got a totally different show. I'm with Kale Stanchuk. He's our editor. So actually Kale edits the shows, does a fantastic job, as everybody knows. And you know, today we're hunting walleye. There's a lot of walleye and we're on the Kootenay River today, the lower Kootenay below Brilliant Dam, and we'll actually hit the Columbia a little later. But the walleye love to stack in these rocks. It's early fall and they also love the sand. So that's what we want to key on today. I'm gonna want to show the kid how to get some walleye.
Yeah.
So that's today as we take you sport fishing on the fly. There's lots of different patterns when you're using walleye, and everybody likes to find out what we use. They always ask me the question. So when I'm working the rocky runs, you know, lots of boulders, things like that, you've got sculpin like the faster water, but you've got dace, you've got other minnows in there to sit in the rocks. So, you know, any of these big patterns work really good. You know, we've got the special dragon boobie patterns that kind of float up, and when you bring it down with a full sink line, they get to the bottom. I've also got the bead heads that they love, these kind of patterns. You know, these are walleye killers, that's what we call them. And you know, the crazy thing is these little nymphs. You know, I use little beadhead nymphs, especially when the walleye are stacked up in the rocky runs, because all the nymphs are floating by them, especially big hexagene mayfly nymphs. They got other mayfly nymphs, caddis nymphs, you know, caddis pupa essentially floating by them, and they pick up these nymphs. And you never think a walleye, you know, pretty big walleye would eat a nymph that small, but they do. What are you gonna use, Kale? What do you start with? I know you always like to use your own patterns.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with a black CLX bugger.
Yeah, and you know they love the buggers, so that's good.
Yeah, I get a lot of rainbows on it too, so.
So when I start with my nymph, I like to start high in the run. So we're a little bit further up. We're probably only in about 6 to 8 feet of water. The walleye love to sit off the drop. So all I'm going to do is take a few casts here. If we don't get anything, just slowly move back. And once you're into them, the walleye school. And you know, we could potentially get into schools of 40, 50 fish. And when they're eating, they're just on. So I'm gonna slowly work our way back with the motor until we hit that little drop off. And then if we find the school, we'll be into them.
I think it's a walleye.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's a walleye. Keep the heat on them. Get that bend on that rod. Yeah, there you go. Because the walleye can shake it, eh? They just sit there and shake. So you gotta keep the rod high. It's a little different than rainbow. And they're heavy in here. Like there's some big walleye we'll catch today. Believe it or not, we've got them over 10 pounds in here before. Now we'll see how good you are landing it and getting the net. Nice. That's a nice big walleye to start. All right, I always like to use the glove on these guys. That's a nice one to start. Nice big fish. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, and these guys got, look at that.
Yeah, nice.
Beautiful, look at the teeth on them. Nasty. So now these walleye are invasive species. They recommend that we pull them out, right? They're allowing 16, imagine 16 a day each to pull these out of the system because they are invasive. They're not made. Plus, what is it? The best fish and chips in the world.
Absolutely.
So, you know, all today, we always practice conservation, but it is recommended we pull these fish out. So we're gonna take them as food and we're gonna have a nice fish feed. But nice fish, look at that, good start.
Yeah.
Beauty. Oh, that's got some weight. That's got some weight. And see how I'm using the rod? Now I'm using the rod to bend. So you wanna keep heat on these fish. Keep your rod tip bent, because those walleye, if you give them a chance, they'll shake it off. There's another nice one, and this guy took the nymph. So Kale got it on his bugger pattern. I've got it on the nymph, you know, so really in this rocky water, they really like a lot of different stuff. Oh, and there he is there. Let's see if Kale can net him for me. Oh, it flies out. Flies out. There's another nice one. And decent size. Look at those spines. You don't ever, that's why I use the glove. You don't want to ever get hooked with those spines because they are nasty.
Full sink lines. They're a lot of fun.
Aren't they painful at times?
Ay, ay, ay.
Ay, ay, ay. So again, all I'm gonna do, just gonna cast straight up and out, allow that fly line to sink. You gotta be at the bottom. I can't stress that enough with walleye. Make sure you're down the bottom. So my fly line, I'm fishing probably 10 to 12 feet. I'm gonna let it go down probably 5, 6 seconds. Now I think I'm down there in front of them, and now I'm slowly gonna bring it back. And again, just a nice slow little pop retrieve. Even when I'm using the big patterns that I'll show you a little bit later, I want a nice jerky retrieve. And a lot of times I even let it sit in the current. And those walleye will follow it and they'll grab it. And there we go, and I got him, just like that. You saw that nice slow retrieve, and there he is. And you gotta set it. So again, an 8-weight rod, you don't wanna give these fish any room to move. So I highly recommend an 8-weight rod. You're not casting big flies, but you will get some good sized walleye. And you've got to keep the heat on them or they'll shake, because they just sit down there and shake. And a lot of times they'll shake it out, or they can even break your line. Right, we're using 10 to 12 pound tippet test material, but still they got those sharp teeth. So I'm hoping to always get them in the corner of the mouth where they can't break it. So there he is there, another nice wally, right in the corner of the mouth. Perfect, another nice one. And look at the flies out, because again, we're in BC, barbless hook, single fly barbless. Geez, you know what? You're out of commission. You're still entangling your line. But you know, as I mentioned earlier, once you're into the schoolies fish, there will literally be 50 to 60 fish sitting down there. They school up, and when they're eating, you can sit here and catch 50 to 60 fish. I mean, we're allowed 16 each for the day, so we could have a pretty amazing day.
We've already got 3.
We've already got 3.
15
yeah,
minutes.
15 minutes. Ooh. That's why I always wear a glove. I hate the spikes. But look at that. Another nice walleye. You know, perfect eater. A couple of pounds, just a real nice, good eating fish. And there we go. Oh, fantastic walleye fishing, world class.
Nice.
And guys don't fish it on the fly rod, right? They come out, they spin cast, but fly fishing for walleye can be so effective. It's just a great way to catch them.
That's a lot of fun too.
On that little pattern.
Yeah.
Hey?
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Well, Kale, they're on that buggy prints.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, on the rocks. But I mean, again, we'll hit a spot later on down on the Columbia side that they're really like, it's a sandy bottom, so it's different. Right now we're fishing the rocks, and I really prefer a nymph pattern to get it down there, because again, lots of nymphs in the rocks. Later on that sandy bottom where it's rock and sand, those walleye love to go onto that sand to warm up. I don't know really why they're on the sand, but they pick up a lot of minnow, sculpin patterns and things like that. Oh, here's another nice one, Kale. Look at that down there. Oh, man, this one's got some weight.
Yeah, he is a big guy.
He's a bigger one, yeah. Whoa, he's got some meat to him. Wow, and he ate that little prince right in the corner of the mouth. There he is. Oh, another dandy. Wow.
So I wonder why the walleye are all stacked in here.
I think just because we've got such, you know, it's from the dam down, it's only how far? Like half a kilometer. And I mean, there's tons and tons of fish that sit all in that real nice calm water. And I think there's just so many minnow patterns and bugs coming down, essentially nymphs. They just stack up here because look at how fat this guy is.
Yeah, they're like...
I mean, let's pull them out, I'll grab them, and they're just, yeah, they're just fat and healthy. Look at that, he just almost shook that. They take that right in the corner, but there he is again. Another nice fish. Yeah, well, look at those spines. Be careful with those babies. And look at the teeth on them. Look at those teeth. They're just nasty fish. But you know, the cool thing with them is they feed like any other predator. They eat all the fish, lots of kokanee, lots of rainbow, lots of whitefish. They got tons of feed in here. And of course the nymphs, right? So they eat everything up. They're not as bad as pike, but they're still very invasive. And they haven't really affected the rainbow's population here. It's still pretty healthy, only because it's such a big system. And you said, what do they eat? Well, I bet you there'd be fish in there.
Yeah, sculpin.
Yeah, sculpin or whatever, right? They eat everything. There's another one. Here's the big thing about confidence with a fly. There's my little buggy prince, and look at the walleye have bent the hook out, and I've lost my white goose bite. So, you know, every time I looked at it, I thought, I kept casting it, took 4 casts, didn't get a hit. So obviously with the hook bent out, I'm not gonna land many fish, and I lost confidence. I don't have my white goose bites. So this guy is gonna go in the trash, and I'm getting a new one. I gotta put a different one on for sure. So there's how they look right there. See those nice white goose bites? I don't know what it is, just a trigger for the fish, really attracts them. And of course that chrome, you know, the nickel, the black nickel head. It's just a killer pattern for a rainbow and for walleye. That's it, keep that rod bent. Yeah, keep a lot of heat on them. Perfect. Nice. I'm gonna come back and net them for you, Kale. That looks like a good one.
Yeah.
Got a little weight.
It has a lot of weight.
And you kept the bugger on. You didn't turn to the
No.
didn't turn to the nymph. Eh? You had to keep persistent with that. And that's a true fly fisherman. Right? You get pride in your own pattern, you gotta use it.
That's right.
Oh yeah, this is again nice size. See, they're good scrappers
They
too,
are,
you know,
yeah.
they're really muscle.
They just don't
Oh,
run.
this is a nice one. Yeah, this is a nice one too. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's a tank.
Is it ever? Look at that. Gorgeous.
And yeah, look at how much further down he took the bugger.
Oh
than
yeah.
that.
Yeah, he really went after the bugger. Look at that though. Grab the glove, you can hold them up for it, buddy, and that's a decent fish. That's a few pounds. That's that could be 3-4 pounds, that one. Gorgeous. Look at that, eh? You know, and I don't like sticking my finger in there either. Look, he took that pretty good. What I can do is get some forceps for that. And I'll grab it out. But look at that. Again, that's you know, a few pounds, but look at how fat they are. You know, show the belly.
They are.
You know, they're really fat, they're healthy, they're eating everything. Again, walleye are voracious. They just go after everything. So what I'm looking for as far as walleye structure is, again, I've mentioned we're in the big boulder run. So you can see how flat the water is up there. It's very flat, but then all of a sudden it forms into a bit of a riffle, just meaning that it comes off a nice shallow flat there, and then it just drops over a hump where you get these little up currents starting. And I can see on the bottom, it just drops off. So we're off a little ledge. It goes from probably 8 feet down to about 10 to 12 feet. And the walleye love that. They love the edge of the seams. So what I mean by seam edge is right where that faster water hits the slower water, all along these seam edges and right off the drop-offs. If you can target that area, you're gonna catch a lot of walleye. It was a confidence thing. I had to change my fly up right away. Just slid us in a new spot. And all we do is just keep working our way down. We started up there about 30 feet. We've caught fish every along the way. The fish are stacked through here. Like again, there's gotta be hundreds of them. And here's another beauty right there. There you go. Woohoo! That's crazy. How many we have on the boat now?
It's number 6.
Number 6, and we've been here, what, about an hour, you think?
Not even.
Not even. There he's there. And another nice one.
A little smaller, but.
A little smaller, yeah, but that's perfect
But
for
still really
fillets.
fat too.
Yeah, really fat. They make, again, the best fish and chips, the best white meat you're gonna have. I think it's better than halibut. It is just phenomenal. So, another beauty, and that's how you catch them. I've lost my white bites again. They're trashing these flies. And the other thing is bust my line. So as soon as we got them in the net, the line, this is, you know, I'm using 12-pound test fluorocarbon, and it just broke it like nothing. As soon as it ran it over the teeth, boop. So if they take it deeper, that guy ate it pretty good, they can bust the line, so you got to get them in a hurry. I mean, you can use the other leaders, right? You can use pike and walleye leaders, but yeah, 10, 12-pound test fluoro works pretty good. Even though I'm tying it on now without my white goose bites, my confidence level is low. Highly recommended 8-weight rod. This guy took line. These, I'm pretty sure it's a walleye. It's not fighting like a rainbow, but this guy might have some meat to him. You never know. You know, walleye or bulldogs, they really power down the bottom. Well, this guy felt heavy when he hit. Oh, gee, and he's, you know, 8-weight rod, he's taking line. Like how? You know, we slid a little bit deeper, and every time we get just slightly deeper, we tend to get into bigger fish. As I mentioned, oh no. Lost him.
He was
a big one too. I think he bent me out. So here I'm gonna see if he bent my hook out, because I had a lot of heat on him. No, didn't bend the hook out. Hook's still good, but that was a big fish. That was probably in that 5 to 6 pound range on that little buggy prince. And it was crazy that those big fish eat this small food item, but it's like anything. It's just like big bows, you know, 12-pound rainbows eating chronomets. If there's lots of them floating by, they'll eat it. So we've been fishing this area for about an hour, and again, it's the Kootenai section from the Brilliant Dam down to the Columbia. And I want to show everybody the different areas that walleye are going to sit in. So again, this area is more rocky. Rocky bottom, lots of nymphs, lots of smaller fish, and you know, it goes into a big hole where the walleye like to sit fairly deep. The next section we're going to hit is on the Columbia side, and it's a little bit further down. And it's got a different, again, a whole different structure. It's got some rock a little further out, but it's got real big sandy bottom. And what we've noticed over the years on walleye is they really like to cruise on that sand. You know, if it's warmer or there's more food around the sand, but they hang right on the edge of the seam, in the sand and in the rock. So when we come back, we'll be fishing a lower section and new water on the Columbia. as promised, before the commercial, we said we were going to make the move. So now we're actually on the Columbia side. We started on the Kootenai, got quite a few nice walleyes you saw, really nice on the nymph. And this now, we got really good sandy bottom over here and some rocks out here. So this is where I like to switch over to the big patterns. They seem to want, on the Columbia, they seem to want the bigger minnow patterns and the buggers. And on that Kootenai side, they love the nymph. So, of course, I'm starting with my nymph because it's on my line, but if I don't get a walleye in probably 3 or 4 casts where I know they're sitting, then I'm going to switch over to the bigger artillery, and I'll show you that in a little bit because we got some really good patterns for that. All right, there's a little nymph, did me good, caught a bunch, put that away. Dives buggy prints. So here are some of my favorites for down on the Columbia. You know, I've used them on the Kootenai, but just for some reason not as effective as the smaller nymphs. But you got the favorite colors. You've got the green, purples, and pinks. Always the best. And this one here, you know, these are new ones. We're gonna probably go to the bench and tie you the dragon boobies. Now they're very cool because they've got the, you know, the boobie eyes, a big fritzy body, real nice full purple body, and a pink and purple rabbit tail. And the nice thing about these is they float up from the bottom. You can use your full sink line right on the bottom and just drag this along, and it never gets hooked up, or very rarely. You know, it might be a good time too to go to the bench and tie this up. This fly is probably one of the best, not only walleye patterns we've ever used, but we've caught in coho with it, steelhead, you know, numerous other species. We even get some big rainbow in October and November on this pattern. So let's go to the bench and we'll tie you up the special purple walleye pattern. Today on the bench, I want to tie you up Don's purple dragon boobie. As you can see, it's a very effective pattern for walleye, especially when the walleye are in rocks, because those boobie eyes keep it up off the rocks and the fly doesn't get snagged. Make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. We'll tie on a Mustad C70 SD size 2 hook. We'll use some 50D yellow nano silk for the thread, some 9mm yellow foam eyes as the eyes, some purple and hot pink rabbit strip for the tail, and some 15mm purple chenille for the body. To start the fly off, I've put my thread onto the hook, taken my 9mm foam, and now I'm just gonna, again like we normally do with boobie eyes, we're just gonna figure 8 them in. And again, if you wanna make sure they're nice and secure after you've tied them in, put some head cement on there just to seal them up. Now that my eyes are tied on, I'm just gonna cut them about the same length, then we'll round them a little bit later. So now they're about the same length. I'm gonna move to the kind of the midway along the hook. Now we're gonna take our purple and pink rabbit. I'm gonna start about midway, tie it in. You wanna make sure this is tied in good. Wrap it back. Then I'm gonna cut the tail just probably about double the hook length and snip it off just to form a nice tail on the fly. Now to form the body on the fly, I'm going to take my purple chenille, and again I'm going to start behind the eyes, move back to the tail, and wrap my thread forward again. I want to tie this in really good. And now we're going to wrap it in. And when you wrap it in, this material is really bushy. So you want to form a nice thick body on this fly, so keep pulling it back as you wrap it forward, really pulling all this material back. And you want to tie right up into the eyes so those eyes won't move. So there it is, right behind the eyes, and now tie off right behind your eyes. So to finish the fly off, I'm going to bring my thread forward. I always like to finish right at the eyelet. So we'll do a couple of whip finishes here. And after we've done a couple of whip finishes, what we're going to do is trim the eyes round. So we'll cut off our thread, and then we're just going to take our scissors and start trimming the eyes so they're round. So there it is, Don's purple dragon boobie. If you're going to go chasing walleye with a fly rod, make sure you have a few of these flies in your box. doubleheader.
Nice.
And now I'll let you deal with them. They're gonna be going into your freezer, so it's perfect. Wow, I don't know how big he is, but boy, he hit hard. You never know, you know, with these fish, but he whacked it. Oh no, and he, lost him again. Oh, darn, that was a nice big fish too, again. The dragon boobie, they're loving it. Just sits there and wiggles and drives them crazy. That was another. Too bad, I could tell when he hit too, he really pulled it and he actually took a line. Walleye normally don't take lines, so that was a, darn it.
Maybe it was a bow, or did you see it?
Yeah, no, I saw him. No, it was a big walleye. It wasn't a bow. Yeah, well. There's more out there. Well, it's a done deal. And you know why? Because I just had a nice one on again, and the dragon boobie is gone. That's the only problem with fishing walleye. So one thing probably to recommend when we are fishing walleye, I'm using the 10, 12 pound fluoro. You can go with those pike leaders, right? They're really abrasive. You can catch a ton of fish without worrying about it, but I never do. So what do you think?
That was great. Got a few fish for the freezer.
Yeah, you almost talk as much as Dale.
Yeah.
The mute guy. You know, it's really nice to bring Kale out. Again, he does a great job on the show. Really into tying your flies now. Your daughter's young, right? 3 years old. You got to get her into fishing.
Yeah.
Should be kind of cool. So thanks for coming today.
Yeah, thanks for bringing me out.
I know, and toting the hat too.
Yeah.
Pretty stylish.
Absolutely.
So when you come here, you know what? You got the Kootenai River to select from up in Castlegar. You come down a trail, you got the Columbia all the way through. World-class walleye fishing. That's all I can say. It's world-class. And when you come here, take care, conserve our waters, and we'll see you next time. We take you sport fishing on the fly. Good day, dude.
Nice. Thanks.